What's up, y'all? It's Will here at Schedule Fly, and this is a special episode today. Lisa Siegel's on the phone with me. Lisa's down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and she and her husband Julian run the Riverside Market, also known as the world-famous Riverside Market, and they also are owners at Tarpon River Brewing. And we filmed Lisa and Julian years ago. Check out our video series to see their Restaurant Owners Uncorked videos. They run a very, very special place. I've only been to the original Riverside Market. When we were there, that's all they had. Now they've got several locations of that and Tarpon River. But the Riverside Market, the OG, the original location, is a very, very special, unique place. And if you go there, you'll never forget it. I know Luke, who does our film work, and I have not. So Lisa's very busy. She's got a lot going on. We were just catching up for a second before we started. But Lisa, just thank you very much for taking the time to do this today.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, I love you, Will. And since we met, however many years ago it was, you know, you're like our restaurant cousins.
That's
You're part of the family.
Oh, man. Well, we love y'all. And I tell you, we are excited at least to hear that some states, Florida being one of them, are making some efforts to let people reopen. So you were just mentioning before we started recording that on Monday y'all are allowed to reopen at 25% capacity is what you've been told so far?
Correct. 25% capacity inside, 100% capacity, or whatever you want your capacity to be outside, as long as there is 6 feet of social distancing between groups of people. So, you know, we're a little bit off the beaten path, and we think outside the box. So I'm basically moving my entire restaurant into the parking lot. I am not kidding.
Well,
I am taking my front 4 parking spots that I have, and I'm putting my high top tables out there, and I'm just going to get a sunshade and put it up alongside the building and have 6 feet apart, and so I can be able to at least have outside dining.
You know, that was going to be my first question, is break down for me how much of your parking lot's going to be dining now. So, let's work through this. So 25% capacity inside. That just means that if you're allowed to have 100 people, typically now you can only have 25 at one time. So y'all are supposed to monitor that. And how is that being enforced, Lisa?
Well, you know, I think that, and it was funny because I was just quoted, you know, unfortunately we're living in a society today where it's tell on your neighbor, and, you know, you're not on Facebook, but we were having a pretty big problem with code enforcement. We had neighbors, or somebody was using the Fort Lauderdale police to harass us. It wasn't the police because, as you know, we're good friends with FLPD, and you know, we're big supporters of our police and fire rescue, and they were getting frustrated and saying, like, someone keeps on calling, someone keeps on sending us here, and they would walk in and we were empty. So it got to the point where we started videoing it and, you know, writing our commissioners, our mayors, and whatever. But, you know, what happens is you have one person, you have someone standing outside in line waiting, and if they're not wearing a mask or whatever, I can't control if they're wearing a mask outside while they're waiting in line on the street, and a neighbor drives by and calls the police. I mean, it's like tattletale on your neighbor. Everybody is a social justice warrior.
Well, I don't really. They're pandemic warriors now. What the heck? Like, okay, so you're standing outside, you're standing away from other people, and you're supposed to have a mask when you're in Florida.
Well, and now you're not. Last week you were, but today you weren't. And you did in Dade County, but not in Broward County. And now they've, you know, released that in Dade County, but in Broward County they haven't, you know. And we're just 5-10 minutes off the county line. So, you know, it's so confusing. And you have all of these different mayors of these big cities, of these, you know, city of Fort Lauderdale, city of Miami, and they're all doing and saying different things. So it's a mess. Nobody knows what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, nobody really knows. And the people calling like that, that's really surprising to me. I mean, that's a real slippery slope, you know, if you're doing that. Be careful, because that that can lead to, there's a lot of...
Well, and that was what was happening. And we documented it really well. And obviously we were abiding by all of the restrictions and all of the laws. And at the end of the day, we got a big apology, but the fact is that it had to go all the way up to the chief of police.
Wow. Did you get the media involved with that? That seems like a...
Well, yeah, actually the Sunset, besides the fact that, I was going live on Facebook and Julian was going live on Facebook too, but eventually we actually got interviewed by the Sun Sentinel, which is the big paper here, and the story was about people who were getting falsely, because it wasn't just us. There were several restaurants that were getting, kind of targeted, and it was funny. I can have 10 people standing outside waiting in line to get their to-go food. My inside of my restaurant could be completely empty, but Walmart and Costco are limitless on who can go in. And I've kind of been documenting this thing just personally as I've gone through it. And we were in Costco on Saturday because we had to pick up some stuff for our home brew shop. We had to get cigarettes and some stuff for the home brew shop. And there were literally 1,500 people in Costco. Now, everybody had masks, but when you're on those aisles like that, you can't social distance. The lines of people weren't social distance. They weren't holding people outside. They were letting everybody in. But a small mom and pop restaurant, can't have 10 people standing outside waiting for food, not being allowed to come into my, establishment. Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. You wonder then, why isn't somebody calling the police about Costco then?
Right.
That's a tough part of this. Costco's got big bucks and big lobbyists, and
right.
That's been an interesting thing of this. Like you got the local retail, like take a clothing store or something like that, small local clothing store. Well, they closed down because they're not, quote, essential, but then Target was, so they sell clothes.
Right.
Like, what?
So it's Walmart and Costco sell clothes too.
Yeah, they're making off like bandits through this for sure. Okay, so, all right, well, but, we can all we can do is deal with...
Worry about ourselves.
Yeah, we deal with what we have and take the conditions we've been given and figure out the best and be creative, and that's what y'all are going to do there. So tell me about the parking lot. How many folks will you be able to accommodate out there, do you think?
I'll probably be able to put 8, if I spread everybody apart, I'll probably be able to put like 8 4-tops out there if I spread them apart, the 6 feet and whatever. And, we're a beer drinking bar, we're a craft beer bar, so, when people come, they come in groups. Like, I think that the people who are going to start going out now are people who are, they're not as worried. They're still going to be cautious. They're still going to be worried. Yeah. But I think that the people who are really worried and don't want to leave their house because they think it's too soon to open, that's your choice. Stay home, but don't condemn the person who wants to go out to dinner with their family.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, for sure. If they're allowing that, then we make our own choices, and that's a good thing. That's part of what's great about this country, is not having so much dictated to what we can say or do or think or whatever. So you'll have folks that will certainly enjoy being there. I have to admit, I went to a buddy's house last week. Took my own beer, took my own cooler, took my own chair. Me and him at his house and 2 of our other buddies, we all sat out. We spread out. But boy, just being able to sit there and look 6 feet away at my buddies and drink a beer was really nice, I have to say.
And I'll tell you what people have been doing. So our parks got opened up last week, and there's a little park right by our restaurant. People have literally been tailgating and coming and sitting out like on the sidewalk in their folding chairs with their beer coolers and their pizza. Yeah. Just because for a change of scenery, just to get out,
Absolutely.
I can't listen. That's not even my property. I can't tell someone that they can't sit there. That's not my job.
No, for sure.
That,
Yeah, your job isn't to police any of this stuff. That's not, that's silly for people to be calling about that. But okay, so hopefully that'll start to loosen up. Now, you've got your main location, your original location. So that's the one you're talking about, the parking lot. What about the other ones?
Well, South is kind of by the airport, so that lack of tourism has really hurt us there, and it's in a little bit of an industrial neighborhood. So, there we have to just make the decision to close on Saturday and Sunday and just be open Monday through Friday. So, now that things are loosening up and we'll be able to open back up at 25% capacity, we'll open back up on the weekends there. And, Plantation, which is my newest location, it's funny because that's such a neighborhood. It's such a suburban environment that, there's not a lot of craft beer places. So I've been doing a lot of to-go beer there. And to bring people in, we were doing to-go beer 50% discount. So, we're getting the people in there, but the revenue isn't there.
Have y'all done, have you been doing delivery with pizza or anything?
We use delivery dudes, and people are generally picking stuff up.
Yeah, okay.
We haven't really done delivery.
Okay. What about Tarpon River Brewing? What's going on there?
So Tarpon River Brewing, we downsized our staff. We went to basically our management team. At Riverside, we didn't downsize at all. Everybody who wanted to work got shifts, and everybody was working. At the brewery, it's a much bigger operation, so we downsized there a little bit, and we also downsized our hours. We closed on Mondays, and we've been open from 12 to 8, takeout only, doing a lot of crowlers and kegs and to-go food. And part of what really helped us there was we started working with, Frontline Heroes, and we started a program, or we worked with our partners for a program of buying lunches for the hospital workers. So if you were a business owner and even if you just wanted to donate a little bit or, a lot, like tomorrow I have somebody that's doing $200 worth of breakfast sandwiches for Fort Lauderdale Police Department. I've been having different businesses in town, whether it be law offices or insurance offices or just citizens in the community, and they'll say, I have $150. Can you do 25 lunches and deliver them to the hospital? And then we print it. So it worked really well for us, and it also helped the community because people want to help. They want to say thank you. They want to do all of these things, but they don't know how. Yeah. So it's been that's been really helpful there at the brewery, and as you know, we're a big city, small town, so we are a big city, small town. So people love the fact that we're open. They love the fact that we're doing that. It is very neighborly, and it does good for the community. It makes us feel great. It makes the people in the hospitals great. It just worked out well all the way around.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It's one of the good things about being small is you can do that. You can make those decisions quickly and execute.
I don't have to ask.
No.
I don't have to ask anybody. And then we have next week, we're doing, part of this whole thing, people forget about the most vulnerable people in our community and in every community, and that's special needs adults and, that are living in group homes. So on Friday, we're doing meals for Ann Stork Center, which has 175 healthcare workers that take care of adults with developmental disabilities in group homes all over Broward County. So we're gonna feed them on Friday.
Oh.
Just to say thank you, because the hours aren't easy, and no one's home, and it's a super scary time.
That it is. How about you and Julian? What's your schedule been like?
Well, thank God Julian and I are such a good team. He's been really holding down the fort at, Riverside. I've been working from home because, as you know, I have 2 boys in high school, and you know, Ashton's got to keep, my older son's got to keep his grades up because he's applying to colleges now, and he's a senior next year, and he's got to figure out where he's going and take his SATs. And then I have a freshman that, you know, can't fall behind either because everything is online and homeschools now.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's hectic. People forget, like, you know, it's real life. It's not just running 5 businesses and a brewery and a homebrew shop. And then, you know, my mom, not COVID related, hasn't been well. So she's been in the hospital. You can't go visit anyone because you're not allowed in the hospitals. And you know, that's just part of the chaos of life. But it feels like everything's on pause. You know? Yeah,
it sure does. God, you've got your hands full.
You know, they're not that break. Because at the end of the
Hey, Lisa.
Before, you have a break from the kids. You know what I mean? Like, you know that they're safe, you have that break, and you can focus on your business. Now, you have, or your personal life. Now, there is no break from anything. Everything is happening all at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. No, I don't know how you do it. I mean, I don't know how you do what you did before all this, Lisa. So, you never cease to amaze me. You and Julian both. You all manage so many things and do it so well. So
we thrive in chaos.
You thrive in chaos. Well, look, I mean, that's what a lot of independent hospitality people do. You know, you almost get, you know, you almost get better from this stuff, and I'm sure y'all will. I'm sure your business will get stronger, and you learn from this and come back even better. But boy, it's not fun in the process. So, well, okay. So reopening Monday at 25%. Have they laid out the time frame for getting to 50% and 75 and 100 or no?
You know, I think they're going to roll out at 25% and see what it looks like. You know, I think if everybody's breaking the rules and we see a spike in the county, then that's going to be a whole different story. You know, in Naples, just across the way from us, they opened up the beaches, and then so many people went to the beaches that they shut down the beaches again the next day.
No, are you serious?
I swear. They opened up the beaches, and everybody influxed the beaches on Saturday. There were so many people in the beaches on Saturday in Naples and the west coast of Florida that they closed beaches down on Sunday because they said that people weren't correctly social distancing. So I think that this 25% thing is gonna lay the groundwork of, like, are people abiding by it? Are we able to enforce it? And then they're going to look at it. I mean, you know, and at the end of the day, we're a pretty big county, and, you know, I think yesterday there were 15 new cases of COVID. That's not really a significant amount of people when you're talking that we have.
No, it's not.
How many millions of people live in this county?
No, it's no, absolutely not. I can't believe they did that. That's crazy. So they opened it up, and then they made a judgment call on whether people were so. Yeah. I mean, how did people even? Wow, that's pretty crazy. You need to.
And you know, the problem. Part of the problem is that you have these governors, and I have to say, I think that Ron DeSantis is doing a fantastic job. He put together a task force for the state of Florida. It had 52 people that were restaurant owners, hotel owners, doctors, small business owners, and those are the people who help lay out the framework of you know, how to reopen. You know, and gratefully we knew some people on that task force. So, you know, we know our voices were heard. But like, how do you do it safely and responsibly, and also not kill the business?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's no precedent for this. Everybody's just doing the best they can to try to figure it out. But you certainly hope that if they're you know, that's a tough situation to kind of open the door, then close it back, and you need to be consistent and get that.
And I think that's why I think they're being smart here. I think saying 25% is the right number. You know, it's less than 50%, and they're saying we're going to do 25%, and we're going to see what happens. And they're going to give it an amount of time. That 25% is going to be for 2 weeks. They're going to see what it looks like. They're going to see how drastically what the numbers look like, how much they go up, and then they're going to decide the second stage, which is to open up at 50%.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, you know.
All right. Well, look, I got to tell you, it's been interesting speaking to people in different parts of the country, and I really feel for the folks. Like, look at L.A. They just said they're going to stay, shelter in place for another 3 months.
Yeah, because there was. So I think that this compromise of the 25% was a good compromise, and I think that people will be happy to get out. And I think that, people who are going to restaurants and abiding by that 25% are going to be grateful to be able to be out. So hopefully they heed the warnings of wearing the masks and following the rules so we can stay safely and continue the road to reopening.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think people will, and y'all are going to do really well with it for sure, Lisa. And your servers are, I gotta imagine there's going to be some big tips coming from people that are out drinking beer.
I'm super grateful because we have been open to go all of the time, and the community has been unbelievably generous with our staff. And, across the board has been unbelievably generous with our staff. So we're super grateful for that. And, I think that this is, I try to explain this. I'm like, we press pause, right? We press pause on the world spinning. And what's going to happen now, not just in restaurants and with big, these big box stores like Walmart, people are going to start going to their smaller mom and pop stores and not going to Walmart because people are having more respect for the process. And, I think that people are going to start going, you and I have those same feelings about independent small restaurants.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where we're going to go back to. I think that this is resetting us to get back into our community and stop thinking about those big box stores and big chains and start creating relationships again in our local community with our small local independent restaurants, which is, of course, what we've been doing since we opened in, 2000 and whatever.
Well, I think that I think you're right about that. I think that more people are thinking about that now, Lisa. First of all, they have more time to think about it, but which is part of it. You're forced to slow down, so you're forced to kind of go, just think through stuff like that. And I've had so many friends and family that didn't necessarily. They just did not have the same passion and enthusiasm as I do for independent restaurants, just because I've come to know and love y'all so well, and that's who we serve. And I've just come to have profound respect for what y'all do and the nature and challenges that come along with your business and what you do for your community. So I got to tell you, there's a lot more people that are thinking about that now and recognize that and appreciate that and are going, ooh, what do I do? How do I support my local independent restaurant that I love or, that I've been to a lot of times? I don't know how much if I appreciate them enough before, but I sure do now when I know that they, may not open their doors again. Like, what can I do to help? So we've seen a lot of that, and I'm glad to see that.
Yeah.
I hope that does continue because what y'all have been just hit so hard with something completely out of your control, and you've all responded. Everybody I've talked to has responded so positively and has made adjustments to help their business, has put their staff first, has put their community first. I mean, that's why, y'all have absolutely shined in this situation, y'all being you and your peers across the country collectively. Yeah. And it's something to be proud of. And I think a lot of people are recognizing that now.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, and it makes your staff appreciate you more, too. Like, my staff knows that Julian and myself, we haven't taken paychecks since March 1st.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure that everybody else can, see their family and do what they need to do. And I think that even creates more of that. We have that family vibe here to begin with, but I think that it even creates it more, and it creates more appreciation between the staff and the restaurant owners.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it's all the way around.
No, I think so, for sure. I think so. How's your staff doing, by the way? Everybody doing okay?
Yeah, doing really, everybody's doing really well. I had some people that were like, oh yeah, you know what, I'm just going to collect unemployment. And then, as I'm sure you've seen on the news, the unemployment system in Florida completely failed and nobody's gotten any unemployment. So, after a couple weeks, they were like, hey, I haven't gotten my unemployment check. So you think I can come back to work? And I was like, of course, but it's the shifts are, the shift, I'll give you as many shifts as I can. So everybody's really helping out. I've had a lot of people actually that have left me at Riverside and gone on to pursue other things, whether it be school or real estate or whatever. And they're all kind of back working now. I had a lot of people come back and say, hey, can you give me a shift at Riverside, or can you give me a shift at Craft Beer Cartel? So I had an amazing chef that was with me for a long time, and he went to open up a big restaurant at the Performing Arts Center. And, of course, the Performing Arts Center got closed down because there's no plays and whatever. And he called me up, and he's like, hey, guys, am I still part of the family? And I said, of course, Bodie, you're always part of our family. And he's just basically jumping from restaurant to restaurant to restaurant. And he's happy as he can be because he's working full time,
Did you say his name is Bodie?
Yeah. Well, actually, he's got a great name. His real name is Flame, but he goes by Bodie.
Oh, that's so awesome. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Well, I love the movie Point Break. That's why when you said that, I thought of that. Bodie. Patrick Swayze plays Bodie in that movie. The Bodhisattva. Okay, well, all right. Well, look, I'm going to let you roll. You got a billion things going on, but I really appreciate this. And just let's stay in touch. And, if we can do anything, we're always happy to. And I just want to keep dialed in with what's happening there. And
absolutely.
I miss y'all.
We should have a whole other conversation, another podcast where we talk about the whole banking system. I'll tell you my opinions on that, but I can't go into it now because it will take too long.
Oh, the banking system. Well, the PPP was a mess.
And the SAP, and these SBA loans.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to tell you at a different time what ended up happening to us, and because that's a whole other story.
Okay.
Which also adds on to my belief is that as a country, we are going to start thinking small again. I think that, especially for us as like small businesses, for me, I'm pulling my accounts out of my big banks and I'm going into small banks where there's a personal relationship, because the way we were treated as a business and as, consumers was just horrible. But that's a whole other conversation.
Well, Lisa, we'll have it sometime. I will say this, and we don't have to get into the details, but I cannot tell you, if you go listen to these episodes we've been doing the last couple of, not that you need to, but I've done maybe 50 of these in the last couple of months. Almost everybody that had a relationship with a large bank coming into this did not get the help they needed and is now with a community bank. And I'm very happy to hear that, because to your point, that's exactly right. They have shined through this because they don't have the scale and the efficiencies and the technologies and the marketing and the branding and all that, but they got people that care about people. And they worked their tails off, and they worked crazy hours, and they did everything they could for people that weren't even their customers coming into this, that maybe they'd never even spoken to. And they stepped up and helped a lot of people. So I tip my hat to community banks. I think they've done a great job. So we'll get into the details on that another time, but I'm not surprised to hear that. It's been one after another. And, if the big banks take a hit for small businesses from this, hey, you know what? That's you earned it, because you didn't help them out. So, well, look, I appreciate it. What's that?
I said, when the hospitality industry and restaurants recover from this, you're going to see what's going to happen to the big banks is going to be bigger than what's happening now with small restaurants. Because I think that it's going to be like small business flight, and all the small businesses are going to leave the big banks, in my opinion. I
think you're right. No, I think you're absolutely, I think you nailed it. And small businesses will support each other as they should.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, tell Julian hello. I love y'all.
I will. Thank
Miss
you
y'all.
so much. Love you guys too. Thank you. And, we're in it together. So,
all right. Well,
all right. Speak to you soon.
Keep in touch, Lisa. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Cheers.
All right. Bye.